Back at it with Season 2 of The Worst of the Worst. The series where people only read the title, make a comment, and not bother listening to a single thing I say. Except for when I make a massive mistake. Brutal, but justified. Now, if you have 2 seconds to actually watch the video, we are pitting 8 games that I have against each other to determine which one I have is actually the worst. That does not mean that the game you loved while you're still young enough to wet the bed is absolute dog shit. It's just that some people perceive it to be. It's okay. Games I actually have enjoyed have been on this list, and a few games I kind of fell in love with because of this series. I'm sure at some point one of the games that I absolutely adore is going to be considered the worst. It's bound to happen. Last season we had Alone in the Dark for the PS2 being crowned the champion against some very interesting contenders. So far this season we have Blood Drive for the PS3 as our reigning champion, but it's got some stiff competition coming up. Last episode, matter of fact, Blood Drive beat out Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest, and some people seem to be rather ticked off that I even bothered to include that game. Some of y'all just need a hug. Now we're going to be breaking this down into 4 categories that help us determine how this game falls on the crap depth chart. I will even do my best not to muck it up this time, I swear. We have game mechanics, presentation, story, and game feel. I better have said it right this time around, and I better not have any more issues with the screen transitions. That video kind of kicked my ass. Oh wait, apparently I might actually be the worst of the worst. Silent Hill Downpour is often either forgotten about or instantly the cause of the end of Silent Hill as a franchise. There are some defenders out there. Let's be honest, there really is less of that than people hating it. Released in North America in 2012, to some mixed reviews, yet whenever I see discourse about this game online, it normally is basically just called absolute garbage. But I didn't think Homecoming was the worst thing I ever touched. That distinction is usually given to Alone in the Dark. Any of the versions. By the way, your game still blows.
Show no mercy.
This game is something else. And even in this first category, I feel like I have some issues. Though again, this is not the worst. There are some standard survival horror fare, having to solve puzzles, make your way around Silent Hill while fighting off the local monsters. Now, when I first played the first few Silent Hill games, I treated the monsters a lot like I did the zombies in Resident Evil and just ran around them. But sometimes, in this game, that is far more annoying than it's worth. Yet the combat is just as bad. Fighting in this game isn't exactly challenging, but an annoyance that I couldn't wait to be over, except that the enemy respawn rate was so high I happened to be fighting a lot. The lack of direction was an interesting choice for this game. I don't like my hand to be held the entire game when I'm playing, but sweet Jeebus, I got lost more often playing this game than I normally do, and that says a lot. And yes, I said sweet Jeebus. Jeebus. My moderator, Black Moon, often tells me I'm the best slow speed runner in any game category. And this game certainly plays into that.
Show no mercy.
Now, I said that the last Silent Hill to touch this series, that the visuals were all over the place, and this is no exception. Now, I do have to say that a lot of the time the character models look horrible. There's just something I'm not a fan of, and when looking at other games at the time, I feel like the team here just missed the mark by a bit. Just enough to make it so they look off. Now, let's compare this game to one that was released on the Wii around the same time, that being Fatal Frame 2 Crimson Butterfly. We didn't get that version in the States though. But if we look at it, the art style of that game makes it easier to look at. But around this time period, making anything close to realism ages very hard. The music isn't awful, but there is clearly something missing, and that is one simple fact. Yamaoka was not involved with the music, so it's just a different vibe to it. Now, I know people will make some assumptions about the skill of the composer for this, Daniel Licht, and that man had a resume that makes me giggle in a good way. Some films like Hellraiser Bloodline, the TV show Dexter, and even the Dishonored series. I think this was just a hard slot to fill, and sadly, I don't think his style of work was the best fit for Silent Hill.
Show no mercy.
This mildly connects with the game mechanics, and you know why here in just a minute. You play as Murphy Pendleton, a convict that is being transferred. His bus crashes, and he is stranded in Silent Hill, and I have some issues with this already. It's not a bad setup, and maybe it's just me here, but I always felt that Silent Hill manages to call the right people to it for one reason or another, but this just felt like a stretch even for me. You're stuck in town with a correctional officer that seems to hate your guts. You run into several people in town, most of them have their own demons to deal with. Here is where the mechanics and the story do not line up in the slightest. You get to make choices in this game, and they determine your ending. Now, the karma choices can actually be negated by killing too many monsters, but back to what I was complaining about. It doesn't matter what you choose in that moment. And here, let me explain. You can choose to save a character right in the beginning of your time in Silent Hill. No matter what you pick, the person falls. And this isn't the only time this happens, and it really feels like they took the power of choice away from the player, which damages this game in my personal level of caring.
Enjoying the view. You know, they say if you were to put the Empire State Building in here, it wouldn't even reach halfway to the top of this place.
Seems like a dangerous place to be sightseeing.
You know, none of those things they said about me are true. The papers and stuff, people around town, my lawyers, they said it was just circumstantial evidence and whatnot. That's what I kept telling them.
Yeah, I read all about it.
Those newspaper men are goddamn fucking liars.
Relax, man. We're just talking here.
What happened? That was an accident. I didn't mean to hurt nobody. I didn't murder nobody. Murder's a mortal sin. You go to hell for murder. Ain't that right, Murphy? Surely your mama taught you about what's right and what's wrong.
Those kids had parents that might disagree with you. The paper mentioned negligence.
It was an accident.
You were completely hammered. There were witnesses.
And how about you, Murphy? Someone know all your dirty little secrets?
I never hurt anybody that didn't deserve it. And I sure as hell never hurt any kids. I wouldn't be able to live with myself.
You call this living? Can you imagine what that's like, Murphy? Living all your life inside someone else's lie? Can you? Listen to us talk. As if anybody out there gives a damn. When we're the ones who decide if we can live with what we've done.
Wait. What do you mean? Just wait a second.
Be seeing you around, Murphy.
No!
By the end, you learn exactly why the woman hates your guts, what you did or didn't do, which doesn't make any sense in context of the game. I'm trying not to spoil it for you.
Show no mercy.
Why is there a yeet button? This game feels a bit clunky. Not that Silent Hill games have always been smooth, and even the new remake of 2 has its issues. There seem to be some weird choices with the button laid out, including the yeet button, and the combat just feels awkward. I feel like Homecoming was an interesting step in a direction, right or wrong is up for the player, but this feels like a minor regression. Being lost is a me thing. I don't remember having that issue the first time around on this game, so I'm not sure if that's the game problem or what, but the game feels like it doesn't know what direction it wants to be in all aspects. For a franchise like this, I want to see a clear path forward when a sequel is released. For me, I think of Resident Evil 7 Biohazard.
Daddy's coming. We need to go. We need to go now!
What the fuck are they?
Shut up and listen if you want to stay alive. Ethan, you gotta get out of that house.
Oh no. They're coming. Who is? What the hell was that? Stop shouting. You'll draw the monsters. Tell me, what is going on around here?
It doesn't make any sense. Mother Miranda has always protected us.
I'd love to explain this in a way that doesn't make me sound like a lunatic, but I'm unable to look at this game and figure out where I'd even want the franchise to go. They took some stabs with other games, including Book of Shadows, but even Konami didn't seem to know what direction they wanted to be in until PT, and then yet again that went nowhere.
It's all here. Literally every memory I have is written in these pages. So now I'm curious. What happens if I rewrite it?
The gap in the door. It's a separate reality. The only me is me. Are you sure the only you is you? Humiliation!
I've been writing the script the whole time, and I didn't know what I was going to do in this section. Sure, the game isn't all that great, and I don't have a ton to say that I liked about the game either, but it doesn't deserve as much hate as it seems to get. In the same breath, I don't know if I can say the game is good. I do think Simon's Quest deserved not to be labeled the worst of the worst for a lot of reasons. If some of y'all watched the last episode, you know why. The thing is though, I didn't enjoy my time with Blood Drive, and I found most of the choices to be mind-boggling, yet I found Downpour just to be disappointing. In the end, the win goes to Silent Hill. Now, I didn't want to make that choice. Silent Hill has become very special to me over the years. And I do believe this game was a bit of a misstep. This would have been an easier choice if just one of these games was truly awful. But neither live up to what they should have been. Then again, not every game can be Alone in the Dark.